this edition of NTV, KissFM's Open Line addresses the concerns of young African American men searching for employment. And award-winning New York 1 News anchor, Ms. Cheryl Wills, talks about her new book, Die Free. So you better keep watching because this special edition of NTV starts right now. Hi, and welcome to NTV, the program that provides you with news and information on what's going on in your own backyard. I'm your host, Nicole Ashley. Well, she's a New York 1 News anchor, and she's also a new author. That's right, Ms. Cheryl Wills is here today to talk about her new book entitled Die Free, the story about her great-great-grandfather's struggle as a soldier in the Civil War. Hi, Ms. Wills.
How are you, Nicole? Thanks
I'm
for
great.
having me.
Thank you. So my first question to you is, what inspired you to write this book?
You know, Nicole, I went on Ancestry.com, and like a lot of people do, I go on and I search for things, and you wonder what you're going to find, you know, about your family. We all want to know where we've come from. That's a universal goal, you know, especially with Americans. And I went on Ancestry.com, put in my last name, the town my family was from, which was Haywood County, Tennessee, and up pops the name Sandy Wills, a name I had never heard before. Turns out he was my great-great-great-grandfather, and he fought in the Civil War. And my life changed as a result because his story was lost to our family for more than 100 years.
That's awesome. So another question that I have for you is, what thoughts came to mind originally when you first thought about writing this book? Were you a little bit scared at first? What came to your mind?
I had no fear at all. I had gratitude and great humility. The gratitude was this man fought in an incredible situation where the Confederates were under strict orders. If you see a slave going to enlist, we give you the right to kill him. Don't even ask him questions. Just kill him. So the very fact that my grandpa, 3 generations removed, enlisted is a testament in itself. And I was filled with humility because he wasn't only thinking of himself. He was thinking of his unborn children and his unborn grandchildren. And I fall into that category. No one's going to do something that extraordinary, putting their lives on the line just because they have nothing else to do. They have a great purpose in mind, and I was so humbled by that, and it inspired me to be my best in all things.
So was it hard researching for this book?
Actually, after I made the initial discovery on Ancestry.com, then I hired a professional genealogist, and through the National Archives, we found all of his military records, all of his widows' pension applications, where they treated her like a liar because she was black. So she had to give exhaustive descriptions of what her life was like, of what her husband was like, of the life that she lived from slavery to freedom. And as a result, I got a very clear and vivid picture looking at those records of what their lives were like during the Civil War, the antebellum period, the Civil War period, and the Reconstruction period. So armed with those documents, I was able to create a beautiful story. And it wasn't scary, it was really joyful.
Wow. So as you moved further into this book, what challenges arose? Were there times when you just felt like you were getting stuck? Or what feelings later came to your mind?
Well, one of the things that I did was I integrated my family story, the one I know now, with the family I had never knew about, and that would be Sandy and Emma. So I married in each chapter my current life and then a life 150 years back. And that was challenging because I teetered back and forth, and I didn't want to confuse the reader, and I didn't want to, you know, make the reader go, whoa, where are we going now? Okay, we're in 1865. Okay, now we're in 1965. So I tried very hard to make seamless transitions. I think it worked because most of the people who read the book say they enjoy it. They enjoy learning about my family. You know, and my father he loved the military. He fought during the Vietnam era and didn't even realize where the inspiration came from. He didn't know anything about Sandy. So, you know, the take-home message of the book is to learn that you stand on the shoulders of giants. And it's worth knowing their names, and it's worth digging to find their stories. Yes. Because any Africans who lived through America during that critical Civil War period, it was an incredible period, and they should be applauded and remembered because so many died during that terrible war. And you didn't stand still during the Civil War period. If your family was alive in America, they did something extraordinary.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to take a short break, but we're definitely going to continue with this conversation. It's getting really interesting. Some young men throughout the 5 boroughs are struggling to find employment. Well, the open line from 98.7 KissFM was there to talk about this issue. 98.7's KissFM's Open Line gathered a panel of experts at the Black Spectrum Theater in Queens to talk about issues affecting the African American community. Radio analyst Bob Slade and Judge Bob Pickett led the discussion as the panel focused highly on one particular issue, the lack of employment opportunities for young men of color.
Now, what's the normal in our community? Over the years, even 20 years ago, the normal for us was always 10%. And guess what the new normal for us is? It's going to be 20 to 25% employment among black males. And this is the incredible number that just blows my mind. The unemployment number hovers between 30 and 35%. And that's an incredible number. Why are we not getting hired?
The guest speakers on the panel included state and city officials, as well as representatives from York College and Lincoln Tech. As each guest speaker voiced their opinions, they pointed out that minorities often use race as an excuse for unemployment. They agreed that if progress was to be made, these beliefs had to change.
Nobody cares about slavery. Nobody cares about racism. Nobody cares about, the lack of opportunity. The only question the globe is asking, where is the mouse? And if your counterpart catches the mouse and you don't, you out.
The guest speakers also suggested that one reason why unemployment rates for minorities are so high is because there's a lack of communication between job seekers and employers. One speaker presented an idea to the panel that African Americans should employ themselves by opening up their own businesses in their own communities. The panel also mentioned that some African American males lack the education needed to find employment. Karen Lastique, the Director of Education at Lincoln Tech, stated that no matter what race or culture, a graduate of a trade school will be able to find employment.
At our school, we graduate 8 out of 10 students and we place 9 out of 10. And the one that's not working in the industry is because they're doing something else and they probably just wanted to come to school to learn how to change their own oil.
Open Line allowed audience members to respond to topics that the panel addressed, as well as present questions and ideas of their own. Donald Murray, one of the audience members, took the opportunity to call awareness to his program, Project Pick Me Up, a recycling program that hires young people and brings money back to the community.
We shouldn't be looking for employment. We in the masses should be actually employing others. So realistically, I don't mind the fact that, they're not employing us because it is forcing us to be pushed against, have our backs pushed against the wall.
In addition to the panel meeting, KissFM members raffled off KissFM gift bags and t-shirts to lighten up the mood. After 3 impactful hours, audience members had a lot to say about the discussion.
I think this was an excellent forum. It's amazing how much information there really is available once you are in touch with people who have it. You know, it's an easy thing to sit at home and try to come to your own conclusions about things, but it's so much more important to actually get the opinions of the experts.
Well, I thought the woman from the trade school, I thought she was very dynamic, and I also think what she had to say was important. Everybody is not going to be a Rhodes Scholar, but you can still go to college.
Having a worthy set of skills, as well as networking correctly, can be the best way to compete. The panel ended the night by saying this: whatever you put into your career is what you get out. I'm Nicole Ashley, and this has been your NTV News Brief.